In a world where alliances shift like sand dunes, the recent tragedy in Indian Ocean exposes the harsh reality of Indian foreign policy, a facade of friendship masking cold opportunism. We are talking about the sinking of the Iranian frigate IRIS Dena, a vessel that had just left Indian waters after participating in their Milan 2026 naval exercise. This isn't merely an act of war by the US, it's a profound betrayal by India, who hosted Iran with open arms, only to abandon them in their hour of need. Over the next few minutes, we will break down this incident, India's violation of international maritime law, and why it is a stark warning for Afghanistan as they draw closer to New Delhi. Drawing from recent events and historical patterns, this is a call to recognize the unreliability of such partnerships. Just yesterday, the White House released this statement outlining the goals of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump's aggressive campaign against Iran. Point 2 stands out: annihilate their navy. And that's precisely what unfolded. The IRIS Dena, a proud Mooj-class frigate of the Iranian Navy, was torpedoed by a US submarine in international waters, roughly 40 nautical miles south of Gale, Sri Lanka. The US Department of Defense shared video footage of the attack, a single Mark 48 torpedo striking the ship, causing massive explosions and rapid sinking. Over 200 crew members were aboard. Sri Lankan rescuers recovered 32 survivors and more than 80 bodies, with many still unaccounted for. But the real outrage lies in the prelude. The Dena had been a guest at India's Milan 2026 in Visakhapatnam, a so-called multilateral exercise promoting maritime security with over 70 nations, including Iran. Iranian sailors docked in Indian ports, engaged in drills, and exchanged handshakes with Indian officials. It was a display of supposed national cooperation. Yet as the frigate headed home, disaster struck, and India did nothing. Behold this scene from Milan 2026, warships from various nations sailing together under India's banner. Iran trusted this invitation, but trust was misplaced when the captain of the sinking Dena sent out a distress call, the standard maritime SOS. India, with its vast naval capabilities in the region, failed to respond. Under international law, this is inexcusable. Article 98 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, which India has ratified, imposes clear duties. Paragraph 1 requires shipmasters to render assistance to those in distress at sea, while paragraph 2 mandates that every coastal state promote an effective search and rescue service and cooperate with neighbors when needed. India's inaction violates this. They were the closest major power, yet Sri Lanka bore the burden alone. This isn't negligence, it's a deliberate betrayal, prioritizing alignment with the US over saving lives from a nation they just hosted. Adding insult to injury, Prime Minister Modi and his government haven't uttered a word of condemnation. No statements, no outrage over the loss of Iranian lives. Why? Because as revealed by former US Defense Advisor Colonel Douglas Macgregor, US Navy ships have been docking and refueling in Indian ports like Chennai and Mumbai since the war's onset, supporting operation against Iran. Despite India's Ministry of External Affairs denying these claims, Macgregor's insights highlight a covert complicity. India invests in Iran's Chabahar port for trade, conducts joint exercises, yet when the US strikes, they stand silent. This duplicity shatters the principles of United Nations Law of Seas and the Safety of Life at Sea Convention, which demand prompt aid regardless of geopolitical tensions. From our perspective in this volatile region, to my mind, in this volatile region where we have witnessed Indian opportunism firsthand, this incident fits a long-standing pattern of betrayal. India portrays as a neutral giant, but actions speak louder. The Hindutva-driven policies marginalize Muslims at home through discriminatory laws like the Citizenship Amendment Act, and abroad they support aggressors in conflicts like Palestine. Now with Iran, a steadfast opponent of imperialism, they extend hospitality, then allow destruction without a murmur. This betrayal extends a crucial lesson to Afghanistan, where the Taliban administration is increasingly causing up to India. Look at these recent meetings of Afghan leaders engaging with Indian envoys, rebuilding ties after years of investment. But remember, 2021, when the Taliban advanced on Kabul, India was the first to evacuate, abandoning billions in projects like dams and the parliament building. They fled, leaving allies in the lurch. Now as Afghanistan seeks stability, they are warming up again. But the IRIS Dena sinking warns India will vanish when crisis hits. If the US or others turn against the Taliban, expect New Delhi to prioritize self-interest just as they did with Iran. Afghanistan must heed this. True partnership endure trials, not evaporate. This isn't isolated to maritime affairs. India's policies ripple across the region, violating water treaties by damming rivers that sustain millions downstream, sponsoring instability through captured agents, and using false flag operations to justify oppression. From the 1971 dismemberment of our lands to the 2019 Kashmir crackdown, revoking autonomy, imposing curfews, and militarizing a population seeking self-determination per UN resolutions. It's a consistent theme of expansionism under democratic guise. The Dena tragedy underscores the fragility of trusting India in multilateral settings. By failing their legal obligations under international law, they have eroded confidence in forms like Milan and exposed their "world is one family" slogan as hollow. For the world, it's a reminder to strengthen bonds with genuine allies like Iran, who share our resistance to hegemony. In conclusion, India's betrayal of Iran through silence, inaction, and possible complicity is a violation of the law of the seas and a moral failing. It's a lesson Afghanistan cannot ignore as they deepen ties. We must demand accountability through the UN, OIC, and global forums, ensuring such treachery doesn't repeat. Share this video, awaken others. The ocean connects us. Let it not drown our trust. Until next time, stay steadfast.